Hi everyone, it's Beck here. I know it's been a while since I've done a live, but I've had a bit of flu and life stuff happening and anyway, just stuff happening. So I thought I'd just do a quick live just to do a bit of my story. There's a few of you who don't know my story and why I started doing keto and things like that. So I'm only going to do part of it just to give a bit of an overview. So as you know, I've got 5 children. So the last 2 children that I had really fast labours. Like one was 15 minutes and the other one was 23 minutes. And that's something I don't recommend anyone do, have fast labours. So because of those really fast labours, it really damaged my stomach. All my stomach muscles were torn and I had multiple hernias and a few other things. So fast forward that a couple of years or a year after I had my youngest child, and I ended up in hospital with another medical problem, but because of that there was like a build-up of gas within my system in my stomach that actually caused all my muscles to give way, and I ended up with like a multiple massive hernia, all my intestines to come through my stomach wall, and I was in quite a mess. So I ended up with emergency surgery, and it was the recovery that was probably the hardest. I was just exhausted all the time. After having the anesthetic and everything, because it was quite a major operation, it was quite, quite a number of hours I was under. I just had trouble focusing and all those sort of things, and I was giving the view to everyone that everything was fine. Like I was saying yes to stuff and I was doing things, but at home I was an absolute exhausted mess. Like I was flat out getting through the day. I wasn't able to just do the things that I wanted to do. Before all this had happened, I'd always been a very active mother, would make Play-Doh and paint, and with my early childhood education background, I always made sure we did all that stuff. But after having those medical problems, I was just exhausted all the time, and I just couldn't do anything. The weight was just piled on because I wasn't inactive. I wasn't able to exercise. And before my stomach muscles actually gave way, I was in a lot of pain, but I wasn't telling people. And I was just, when you're in constant pain, you're just so exhausted, just dealing and getting through the day. So through a series of events, I actually came across this keto way of eating, trying to help a friend who had just been diagnosed with celiacs and an autoimmune condition and stuff like that. And I had found out about this way of eating that was helping a mutual friend. So I just said to my friend, hey, I'll just do it with you if you want someone to do it with, not actually thinking that it would help me. And I ended up having like great success with it. I started losing weight, something which I'd always struggled, even when I ate healthy and exercised a lot, almost to the point where I probably had an eating disorder. When I was working out, I'd work out for 3 hours plus a day, and I would weigh and measure every bit of food, but I still could never lose the last kilos. I was still quite stocky, but looking back now, I was probably more muscular. But when you're late teens, early 20s, you don't understand that. But yeah, I've always just struggled with, I can just look at food and put on weight, basically. So keto was, and so I started having really good health benefits out of that. Was feeling the best I had for years. And I think like when you haven't been well for a period of time, you actually don't realize how sick you are. It slowly sneaks up and it becomes your new normal. And once you start feeling good, or once you get introduced to something that makes you feel good, you realize how bad you have felt for so long. And that was like my case. So keto did a lot of great things for me. And it was through keto that I was introduced to some products that I had been seeing in some of the keto groups, and it took probably 2 to 3 months for me to actually be able to find them, and I happened to stumble across somebody who didn't live all that far away from me that put me in touch with someone else who had used them. Well, the first day that I took it, I had been struggling. I couldn't get through the day beforehand, was wanting to have sleeps when I put my youngest one down, and just exhausted all the time. That day I cleaned the whole kitchen. I cleaned out every cupboard, wiped out every cupboard, restacked everything, wiped all the counters and everything, and I was up till like 11:30 at night. And but from then it's just been continual. It was to where now I've started studying again, where after my surgery I couldn't read, I couldn't concentrate because I was just so exhausted. I couldn't even watch TV. Like, my husband put a television in the bedroom for me after my recovery, and I just didn't even have the concentration of being able to watch TV. And like, when I watch stuff, I like to watch like whodunits or things like that, because I actually like to work out what's going on. So watching like dramas and stuff usually doesn't really interest me, so I couldn't even watch the shows that I like to watch because I just couldn't concentrate on them. But after starting taking, making this change every morning and started taking these things, it was just like a huge difference, and it was like a fog had lifted. And looking back now, I actually think that I was depressed. I was in a funk. Everyone saw another side of me that was doing all this stuff, but at home I was just exhausted and didn't want to do anything, and didn't really, just going out was just, it was just hard because it was so much effort to get dressed and to do things. So that's where I was a couple of years. So I've been using, it's been about 13 months that I've been using it. So I just thought I would just share that if you do feel that you are stuck, and you do feel that you look